Well, welcome back to another episode of Shed Customs TV, and in this episode we're going to work on the Velo project, and specifically the seat. So I've acquired a load of parts. I've got a frame which needs modifying. We've got a new Dunlop rubber seat top, and we're going to put those all together. I'm going to show you how I do that, what needs to be modified, and how I rivet it all together. So watch along. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And let's get on with the show. So this is the beginnings of another Dunlop seat build. So this time, instead of modifying a seat frame, I've actually got a proper Dunlop seat frame, which is a sort of wire construction. Nice and light. Now, for whatever reason, someone's welded these additional ears on the sides, which I don't need. So when you turn it round, you've got the rivet holes, and there's a rivet hole round here. So effectively I'm going to remove this piece, and that's to allow that to fit, which is the Dunlop rubber seat top. So it's just basically a piece of rubber sheet that's been shaped. So we're going to chop that about to make it fit, turn it up the right way. And I'm going to bring you along and show you what it takes to make one. So this is the ear that I've got to cut off, and it's been brazed on. So the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to cut it through just the single skin on there, and then I'm going to run the angle grinder across here and leave part of it still connected. And then what I'll do is I'll sanding disc that away. There's no way I want to try and chop that along that line. I think that's going to be a bit too tricky and probably end up in tears. So I'll leave a register behind, and then I'll come back and clean that back. So there it is, all cleaned up. But what's become apparent is it's too big to fit in the space provided, as they say. Now when I put it in like that, that profile looks really good. So basically it's too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop it through the middle. We'll chop 1/4 of an inch out of it. I don't know if 1/4 of an inch is going to be enough. Maybe 1/2 an inch. So we do metric. We got 10 mil. 10 mil, call it 20 mil. Don't probably want to take quite that much. So I'll start at 10 mil. Let's do 10 mil. So I'll mark the centre and 5 mil either side of it, and I'll chop that off with the disc cutter. We'll see if that fits okay, and then we'll weld it back together again. Okay, so I'll mark the centre out, chop 10 mil out of it, 5 mil aside out the centre. That shape's really nice, so I'm just going to weld that back together again, and then we'll move on to the next bit. So just welded that back together again. Not really worried about, well, I should be worried about what it looks like, but I'm going to grind all that back off so it's all nice and smooth. So we do that and we'll move on. And there it is, welded back into one piece, and that really fits that shape just nicely. So we've now got a series of holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then another 4 that side, which are going to take the rivets. Now I'm going to sort of dry assemble this, so I'm going to drill the holes for the rivets. I'm going to look at the front, and I'm thinking about putting a rivet through here as well, because I've seen that style and that looks quite pretty. And then the whole thing needs to go and get blasted and painted. I don't know if I can be bothered to sit it with a wire brush and clean that all off, so I might give that to the professionals. But let's see if we can work out how we're going to put the holes in the for the rivets in. Okay, so I put the first one in, and what I've done, I've used a scribe. I've squeezed the frame down until it's nice and flat with the main body of it. I've poked that straight through the rubber and got a position, and then I've made this, which is an Allen bolt. I've drilled a hole up the centre. That will focus, and I've sharpened a bit of an edge to it. Then once I know where the hole is, I can come at it from the other side, put it on the bench and give it a thump with the hammer, and that cuts the little rubber slug out, and then you can put the rivet in. So I'm going to do that so each one is put in and it holds it completely still, so you don't end up getting it all higgledy-piggledy. So that's the plan. I've got not enough hands and not enough fingers and all the rest of it to sort of show you that, but that's the principle. So let me just carry on with that for a minute and I'll bring you back. Okay, there's all the rivets pushed through. Obviously we're not riveting now, because like I've said, I'm going to get it painted first, and then ultimately that's sort of what it's going to look like. Really pleased with that, I've got to be honest. If anyone's got an original Dunlop Seat badge that they want to talk to me about, I'd be happy to buy one if I can find an original brass one, or another Dunlop Seat badge to put in there. Right, the last part of the puzzle is going to be getting that and riveting that on the front, on the nose, through the side somehow. But I'll bolt that back up and we'll see how we get on. So that took a lot more work than I was anticipating, but anyway, we stuck a rivet through the front. This frame is definitely for a different seat top, so I've ended up cutting about 10 mil out of the middle to bring the nose further in. I've just got 2 rivets in at the back at the moment, just to sort of stretch it out. You can pull the rubber around to get those rivets in the sides. We'll do that when we get around to it. So yeah, there it is. I used to go to the powder coaters or somewhere to get, well, we won't powder coat it, we'll get it 2K epoxy black. Or I might get excited and rub it about with a wire wheel and paint it myself, we'll see. Be nice to get it done. You know, I can look at how I'm going to attach the springs, and we're going to need to make a front pivot that's going to pivot it onto the frame. So the frame has got a circular lug on it at the moment, so it would sort of sit something like that, and I'm looking at that hole there. You can see there's 3 holes, the one in the middle is going to have a rod going through there, but whether that's going to put the seat in the right position fore and aft is anyone's guess at the moment. So yeah, a bit more to do yet, but pleased with progress so far. So now I've modified the seat frame. I used some of that rust inhibitor, giving it a paint with a paintbrush. Nothing too fancy. Again, trying not to make this thing look like a fully restored motorbike. Just trying to make a nice, clean job of it. So we'll get on with putting the rubber cap back on and putting the rivets in. Okay, so what I've done, I put the first rivet through. There's not much room in there to get the hammer. I'm just going to use this mush that over. There it is. Okay, so what I need to do now is I've got to load all the other ones up, and they've got to be done in sequence just to get them in. So I'll bring you back in a minute once I put all the rivets in, and then we'll go through thumping them in. But the principle's the same. The hardest bit for me now is going to be try and film this and hold this in a position where I can get in there to thump it. But yeah, I'll bring you back in a minute. I'll see if I can do this on camera. So I'll just put a little bit of oil on the end of the rivet just to get it started through the rubber, because it's a good fit. It's a case of, I've probably got most of my body in the way. So that's the first 2. You get the idea. A bit more oil. They get progressively more difficult to get in, as you can imagine. I know you can't see this. So hopefully that's, you can see that. So I've pushed all the rivets through. I think you're probably pleased I didn't show you how I did that, because that took an awful lot of messing about. So now what I'm going to try and do is rest it. So what I want to do is get the rivet sat on this plate and held, and then get my my punch and my hammer. So I'm going to have to rig something up to let me to do that. That looks like it might be handy. Well, they say necessities are the mother of all inventions. So again, I've not really got a great angle to get in there. But luckily it's aluminium, so it's nice and soft. One down. So I'll carry on doing that. There's no need for you to sit here listening to me hammering and banging, but I'll finish them off and I'll bring you back. And there it is. So one at the front, 8 round the back, and it's got a nice bit of shape to that as well. So very pleased. So I mentioned at the end of the video that we wouldn't actually know where the seat was going to sit in the frame, and sure enough, with the seat mounted on this part of the frame, which is the normal location, it's the nose of the seat is well too close to the tank. So what I've done is I've made these aluminium plates, bolted it in 2 positions, and then made a pin with a couple of split pins in it, which allow the seat to rock, so you can't clamp it. There's a tube in between which holds it apart. So I'm quite pleased with that, and as a concept, it makes the seat sit nice and flat. Maybe pick it up. We've got these threaded adjusters at the bottom which are just resting at the moment, so effectively you could jack that up and put one nut either side of the part of the frame which holds the seat. You've got 3 positions there that allow you to change the position of the spring, so effectively if you moved it up to the top hole, the seat would sit a little bit higher at the back. So there's a bit more work to do, but effectively I've made some extension pieces to move the seat backwards. So yeah, until the next time. So that's the end of the episode. Hope you've enjoyed it. We've shown you how to make a Dunlop seat out of a rusty old frame and a brand new top and some aluminium rivets, and yeah, quite pleased with that. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully you'll join me on another video when the next one comes out. Thanks again.